Welcome to the College Town Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Roth. With me is Derek DeBerger.
Hello.
This will be a new podcast. We'll see where it goes from here, but we'll be talking all things college sports for the most part. And, yeah, I think that's pretty much about it, would you say?
Yeah. We're big fans of college sports, and we're not creative, so we thought we would make a podcast
I
about
know,
it.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, we might as well jump right into it. College football is, for us at the time of recording, it starts in about a month and a half.
Yeah, it's July 17th is the date that we're recording this, and I would say that college football is right around the corner.
Yes. So, we decided that we would be the first to make a top 25 list.
Oh, yeah, first and last, definitely.
I don't think we're going to be the last to make a top 25 list.
Oh, no, the AP polls haven't even come out yet, so I'm fascinated to see what they will come up with. But, yeah, so starting off with the list, if we want to do we want to do our combined list first, I take it?
Yeah. Want to do 25 to 1 or 1 to 25?
Let's do 25 to 1.
All
I
right.
feel like a lot of people have a general idea of, like, who's going to be 1 and who's going to be 2. Or let's start from the top and work our way down, I think is better.
Okay. Well, number 1, no surprise here, we've got Georgia.
Yeah. Georgia is a stellar team. Granted, they lost a lot in the draft, but and they're adding a lot too. And they have a new wide receiver core coming in through transfers with Dominic Lovett, who I think will be fantastic for them. Carson Beck's going to definitely step up and take that Stinson Bennett spot. But yeah, that's what I think about Georgia.
Yes, they're one of the top teams. They are
the top team.
Yeah, they're loaded in just about every position. Honestly, I don't know much about Carson Beck. I don't know how highly recruited he was at a high school.
I have him as like a top 20 quarterback coming into this year.
Yeah, I know historically Georgia has not had phenomenal quarterbacks. I know that they have, I believe, currently the top quarterback recruit in the 2024 class. Yes, but that doesn't affect this season. But honestly, it gets to the point where if you haven't had elite quarterback play, I don't think it matters. If you're winning national championships and
No, I agree with you. There's definitely, it's been a long time since like a Heisman Trophy candidate has like won a national championship, I want to say. Like, and I usually, most of the time, the Heisman Trophy winner is a quarterback as recently.
Yeah, in recent history, definitely. But they're not a school known for their quarterbacks, and it hasn't mattered as of late. So they're number 1.
I'll let you take number 2.
Okay, well, number 2 we've got Alabama. They had a down year last year. I think they're going to be back. I think they've improved offensive line. They lost a lot of people like Bryce Young, but
yes,
Alabama just kind of like they've got a constant revolving door of players.
Yeah. For me, we have them at 2. I personally had them at 3, but the whole reason behind that is because I'm not sure about their quarterback, Jalen Milroe, coming in sophomore. I'm not sure. It's the first time in a while that Alabama doesn't really have like an upperclassman in that quarterback role, and I'm interested to see how it pan out.
Yeah, that's true. If you think about like the last like 3 or 4 guys they've had at quarterback, it's been Bryce Young, Mac Jones before that, Tua before that, and then Jalen Hurts. Yeah. So they've had 4 NFL quarterbacks.
4 basically first-round quarterbacks besides Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, but he was early second round, and he's
he was arguably the MVP last year.
Yeah, made it to the Super Bowl, so he's doing fine for himself. But he's the first guy that's not necessarily a proven commodity, even though Bryce Young was before he started full time at Alabama, he never had any reps, but he was one of those guys that everyone could just circle and say, oh, well, he's going to be good. There's no question marks there in reality. I had Alabama number 1 on my list.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm shocked by that.
I think they're going to be good. I don't know what to say.
I don't think they're not going to be good. I just think, to be fair, preseason rankings don't mean much by this, but that SEC gauntlet that they have to get through, and then on top of that, to then win the SEC championship, to then make it to the playoffs, I feel like it's going to be not a hard task, but it's going to be a harder task than times in the past.
Yeah, but I put them number 1, and I had Georgia number 2 in my list because Georgia over the last 2 years has lost a ton of talent on defense.
Yeah.
Like, what have they had? Like 9 first-round picks or something like that? They've had a lot of first-round picks. Yes.
I know, like, the Eagles picked up Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter, and that was part of their dominant front line that they had.
Yes.
That was ridiculous. I can't recall all the draft picks that Georgia
They've had a lot of draft picks in the first. I know for sure they've had a lot of draft picks in the first round. They've had a ton of them the first 2 rounds over the last 2 years on defense especially. So I just think it's going to. They're a little bit in the territory of Alabama at this point, where it's a revolving door of 5 stars.
Yeah,
that's it. Like
basically.
Yeah, 5-star goes out, 5-star comes in. But I think you can't lose that much and it not catch up to you. That's what I think. That's why I had them at number 2. And I think you saw that with Alabama last year.
If they do it again this year, they basically have taken the throne from Alabama as like the new dynasty on the block. So
yeah.
I don't see until the reason why they're 1 for me, until someone knocks them off, I don't see how you could drop them out of 1.
That's fair. I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like being in an abusive relationship, but I don't want to count out Alabama.
I get it, but I'm not necessarily counting them out. I'm just saying, like, in the recent history, Georgia has knocked them off their pedestal. And
yeah. And I mean, they won back-to-back national champions.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I just don't think you can eliminate them from 1.
I mean, I don't have a problem with you putting Georgia at number 1. Right. I just put Alabama there. I think Alabama's going to be really good. And number 3, we got Michigan.
Yeah, I really like Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan is – they're kind of taking the Big Ten.
Yeah, they've definitely taken it over Ohio State as far as, like –
just the preseason favorite every year?
Yeah. Not even preseason favorite, because the one year they were, like – not ranked, I want to say. And
2 years ago.
Yeah,
they were the expectations were not there.
No, but they've definitely had to come up. I think my personal opinion is J.J. McCarthy is a top 5 quarterback in college football right now. That is my hot take. J.J. McCarthy is
he's
a top
good.
5 quarterback.
I don't know. I don't watch a ton of Michigan football, so he's good.
I mean, he is very good in my opinion. I think they didn't lose a ton. They've added. They have a great linebacker coming in from Nebraska that I think is going to be phenomenal for them. That's my personal opinion on all of them.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to be very good. They've got a lot of talent. They've got Blake Corum coming back, right? Who I thought you think J.J. McCarthy's like top 5 quarterback. He's definitely a top 5 running back, I think, in college football. And so they do have the consistency with J.J. McCarthy. They have Blake Corum. They always, as of late, they seem to have had just pass rusher after pass rusher after pass rusher. Like, they just churn them out into the NFL, and they just keep replacing them. It's that whole revolving door thing I keep going back to.
Yeah.
But I just...
Chip program. Becoming of one. Wasn't. Now it's, in a way, becoming of a blue chip, would you say? I mean,
I think they have been. They've got the most wins all time.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like in recent history, Michigan. I mean, the Big Ten was ran through Columbus. It always had. Always will, and I feel like now we're starting to see that change, where it's starting to go through Ann Arbor now.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not a blue chip.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I'm just saying.
I mean, I don't know. I basically just look at it like recent history, like Georgia football, up until recent points, it was a good team. Like, you know, it would go like 9-3, 10-2, or whatever. But it wasn't.
I would say though Georgia was still a blue chip program though.
Fair enough. I mean,
what's a blue chip in your mind?
I don't know honestly how I define a blue chip, because I feel like part of me is like, I don't want to discount the history of a program. But at the same time, if that program isn't performing up to a certain standard, I don't want to necessarily call it a blue chip for the sole purpose of, like, in recent history, it's not like a dominant program.
Well, I think a blue chip is like a school that you just assume is going to be good. Just like the most casual college football fans, they're like, oh, yeah, Georgia, Bama, they're going to be good. Florida's going to be good.
Texas.
Yeah, Texas is a great example. Every year, everyone says Texas is back. Notre Dame has had some good years. Notre Dame has made the playoff.
I know, but it's just. I have a friend who's a Notre Dame fan, so it's always enjoyable to see them lose. In my opinion,
I do have a Notre Dame fan who is a friend.
It's always funny preseason when they say we're back and then they go 8-4.
Yeah, but they have more credence to that claim than like a Texas.
Oh, absolutely though. Absolutely. Like as far as like history goes, yes, but like to say every year you're back and you're just not.
I mean, I get it. Right. But it's like any fan base.
All right, moving on to number 4. I got USC.
Yep.
USC.
We both had USC at number 4.
Yeah.
And Ohio State at 5.
Yeah.
I think USC is. I think both of them, they're going to have extremely exciting offenses.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, USC just basically brought in a whole new front seven with their transfer portal. Like basically everybody that they brought in. We're talking Bear Alexander from Georgia, Anthony Lucas from Texas A&M, Keon Bars from Arizona. Like their whole front seven is basically getting an overload. Like, and it'll be interesting to see how that team performs because the talent is most definitely there on defense now.
Yeah.
The question is like, will it work? Will it all gel together? These guys have less than spring ball together to figure out.
Yeah, well, they got spring ball, and they probably got like, I would imagine USC has started their season with not the toughest of opponents to get ready. But that was their biggest concern from last year was defense.
In the Pac-12, I would say like for them, their biggest competition is like Oregon and like Washington.
Yeah, I think Oregon and Washington, and then
Utes and Utah. The Pac-12 is sneaky good this year, in my opinion.
I mean, I agree. I'll agree with that, but it's good at the top. It's not a deep conference.
No,
I don't think.
It's like 4 or 5 deep. Like I feel like after Oregon State, it kind of drops off. Like it goes to both Oregon programs. It goes USC, it goes Utah, and it goes Washington. And after that, it's we'll see what Deion Sanders does with Colorado. That'll be
they're not gonna.
But I don't see them being better than any of those 5.
No, at best, Colorado's gonna make a bowl game this year. They're gonna. Their ceiling is like 6-6, 7-5.
Really?
Yeah, I think they've got a better talent than last year. But the entire team is new. The scheme is new.
Right.
So to get to USC, the start of their schedule is San Jose State, Nevada, Stanford, at Arizona State, at Colorado, and then Arizona at home.
I see them being 6-0. That's what I see. Right
yeah, and I think that's going to be a lot of time
if you honestly look
for their defense to gel.
I mean, it's also very similar with Georgia's schedule. Georgia does not play anyone, in my opinion, that is going to be tough until Tennessee, and that's like week 11 or 12. Like Georgia's football schedule is ridiculously easy this year, like insanely.
Yeah,
easy.
Yeah.
Like, I think their
first 6 games
will be like South Carolina and Kentucky, and then after that, it's like they don't play Florida, they don't play Alabama. No, they do play Florida.
They do play Florida, yeah. Well, this is the last year of conferences or divisions in the SEC.
They don't play Alabama. They don't play LSU. They basically avoid all of the top 10 of the SEC, the top teams in the SEC until it's championship time. And I would argue that Tennessee is their hardest matchup this year, and that's the second to last week of the season.
Yeah, Tennessee or Ole Miss probably. Yeah, but I got a question for you. Do you? So Georgia's schedule is probably much easier than Alabama's.
Yeah.
Do you take into consideration when you were ranking more so talent and coaches and like just how rawly good you think the team is, or do you factor in schedule?
Oh, I don't factor in the schedule for the top 25 because I basically just look at it from the standpoint of like, what is the best team? Like we have Ohio State and Michigan in the top 5. One of those teams is not going to make the playoffs because it's very rare that 2 Big Ten teams are going to make the playoffs. I'm not scheduling my teams based off of like where I think they will finish. I'm just going to be going into the season being like, this is where I think these teams are in relativeness to like how good I think they are. Now, will I think it will definitely move around a lot? Yes, because a lot of these teams play each other within like the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I think I did. Honestly, I think I did a little bit of a mix of the two. Like I think, yeah, the Pac-12, like the teams at the top are going to beat up on each other, but they're all going to get a handful of easy wins in the Pac-12, plus non-conference schedule. Most of them aren't playing super tough teams. I mean, USC's got to play Notre Dame. Oregon probably plays somebody, but
Oregon, I have they play Texas Tech week 2. That's one of the games I
yeah,
highlighted. I
think that's going to be that's going to be a tough game. I had Texas Tech in my top 25.
I do not.
But moving on to Ohio State, I think.
Ohio State, good team. There's not really too much to say. I have the best wide receiver in arguably since they're saying like Calvin Johnson and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, he's very good.
He is extremely.
I mean, all of the receivers, they have quickly turned into wide receiver U. Like, they're so fantastic.
Jigba before that.
Yeah, Chris Olave. They had Michael Thomas from a while ago.
No,
Drake London went to USC.
Yeah, who was the other? There was 2 Ohio State guys.
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson. It was Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. Yeah, that was a stacked year. Yeah.
I mean, they just are like pumping out wide receivers.
Are you willing to go out and say like Georgia's RBU? Oh, Iowa's tight end U. Are we willing to say that?
Not Iowa.
Oh, Iowa's definitely tight end U.
I would put like Notre Dame in there.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, like Notre Dame's produced some good tight ends.
Well, there's like 3 schools that tend to have just consistent good tight ends. It's like Iowa, Notre Dame, and Stanford.
Who came out of Stanford?
They've put a lot of guys in the NFL.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
Just unknown.
I'm pretty sure they put guys in the NFL.
Okay.
I could be dead wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure.
You just threw out another school.
No, I'm pretty sure they consistently have good tight ends. Maybe back in the day they had it, and I'm just assuming that it's still going on.
I can think of that came out of Stanford is like Andrew Luck and Christian McCaffrey. That's what I can think of.
Well, they had so they had Kobe Fleener, who did nothing in the NFL. He was very good in college. Kobe Fleener was very good in college.
Kobe Fleener.
Yeah, Kobe Fleener.
Anyway,
where did Zach Ertz go?
I don't think he went to Stanford. I don't know where he went. I don't think
He could have gone to Stanford.
Google Zach Ertz at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think.
So Zach Ertz. Come on.
Just search college. My goodness.
Anyway, you want to move on to the next. You want to move on to number 6. Stanford. Zach Ertz went to Stanford. I knew he went to Stanford. Look, there's 3 schools that vie for tight end U, and it's Iowa, Notre Dame, and Stanford.
Okay.
09 to 2012.
Okay.
He was All-American, unanimous.
Fair enough. To be fair, 2012, I was vaguely watching college football, so.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so. Number 6, we have LSU. LSU now led by former Notre Dame coach Brian Kelly, as well as in my opinion, have another top 10 quarterback in Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels was phenomenal at Arizona State. He just had Herm Edwards.
That's funny. It's unfortunate, but it's funny.
Yeah.
I see them as a good team. Devin Harris coming in from Texas A&M is with top cornerback in the league. Jimbo Fisher, hot take in my opinion. He's on the hot seat this year, in my opinion, for A&M. If he doesn't get it figured out,
I don't think that's a hot take.
Oh, he just is on the. Oh, it's not a hot take. It's just true at this point. He's just on the hot seat.
Yeah, I mean he brought in Bobby Petrino.
That's hot.
They're gonna get in like a screaming match a game.
Oh.
I was thinking more on the field.
Oh my
I don't know who wants to get on the back of a motorcycle with
Bobby
Bobby Petrino right now. But
back to LSU.
yeah, I don't know where you brought Texas A&M into this.
We have Omar Speeves coming out of Oregon State. I think he's a top transfer as well. Yeah, that's pretty much. They did lose a cornerback in J.K. Johnson, but I think they'll be all right.
Yeah.
They did, and he was going to Ohio State. But I feel like they plugged their holes. They're pretty good. We'll see how they handle the SEC.
I mean, they did very well in year one of Brian Kelly. I think better than anyone could have expected. And so just general consensus is that, well, they're going to year two. They still have their quarterback. They still have a lot of pieces returning. Mm-hmm. They're going to be as good, if not better. That's typically the trajectory that people put them on. So I don't think that's shocking at all to put them at number 6. Number 7, we do have Florida State.
Florida State. I am very high on Florida State. I
am too.
I think they win the ACC this year. I don't think there's a close second. I think Clemson has fallen off. I don't really see anyone else really competing with them on the level that they are in terms of talent.
I would agree that they're going to win the ACC. I don't think there's not a close second. I think anything can happen. We'll see how good North Carolina is. Their defense was awful last year, but it got much, much better throughout the year.
Right.
So we'll see how good North Carolina is. We'll see how good Clemson's offense is, because they've had a fantastic defense the past 2 years, and even before then they've had very good defenses. But like the past 2 years, Clemson's defense has been incredible. Yeah. The only thing that's holding them back was their offense, and they now have Garrett Riley. So depending on how good he is, depending on how good Cade Klubnik is, I think they could give Florida State a run for their money. But Florida State is probably the most talented. They've got what's his name? Jordan Travis?
Jordan Travis.
I almost said Travis Jordan.
But he's another top 10 quarterback I have ranked on.
Oh, he's very good.
I have him ranked 7th right here in terms of college football.
I mean, he's probably... I would say Jordan Travis is probably going to be a top 5 quarterback drafted.
Potentially, yeah. I would say so.
I think he's very good. He's in, his 5th year now in college?
Oh, I have no clue.
It's been his first year at Louisville.
That's funny.
Yeah. God, I was really mad when he left. I liked Jordan Travis a lot.
Very good player.
But, no, I think Florida State's going to be really good. I think finally, everyone seems to have confidence in Mike Norvell, which for a while, he was on the hot seat just because I think Florida State has been so good for so long that they just have these unrealistic expectations for their coaches. Mm-hmm. And so I think he was just on the hot seat just by the sheer fact that he wasn't winning 8 or 9 games in year one.
Also, for Florida State, for me, they've done amazing in the transfer portal. I think only second to like Colorado, but if you look at every single transfer that they have brought in, it is just talent on talent on talent. And then these guys have performed. I'm very interesting. Like Fintrell Cypress II from Virginia, Keon Coleman from Michigan State, and I'm going to butcher this, Jaheim Bell from South Carolina. I don't know if I said his first name right. Sorry, Jaheim, if I said your name wrong.
I mean, that's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Jaheim.
Yeah, but those are just the 3 I highlighted. If you go on their 24/7 page and look at the transfers and all of it, it's just phenomenal in terms of talent and what they've been able to produce. Yeah,
so LSU and Florida State, they do have a good transfer class on top of But so LSU and Florida State, I believe we both had them 6 and 7 in our lists.
Yep, I have. Yep, exactly.
Number 8, that's when we get into some real debate.
We have this zone where 8 through, I want to say,
I think it's
12.
11.
It's a 12. 8 through 12. Yeah. 8 through 12, disagree on. So at 8 we have Notre Dame as combined. I have Notre Dame all the way down at 12.
And I had Notre Dame at 8.
Yeah.
So I won that battle.
I don't think it necessarily won. We went to a third party.
We
and
did.
That person said Notre Dame at 8. So
yes.
I do not. I wouldn't say I like or dislike Notre Dame. I just have so many questions. How will Sam Hartman do in a new offense 1 year? Is Marcus Freeman a good coach is another question. He is, from what I've seen so far since Brian Kelly has left, it's been not impressive by any stretch of the imagination. It has definitely not been to the Notre Dame standard.
It was his first year ever as a head coach. Typically, people always talk about players getting better. I think they oftentimes forget the fact that coaches can also get better. Right. And so typically, someone who's first year coaching at Notre Dame, that's not usually their first year coaching. So I think people are more used to seeing like a new first-year head coach at a new school, like a big program like Notre Dame, who already has some experience under their belt. Marcus Freeman had to learn on the job a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I think he's going to be a better coach. Tommy Rees left as their offensive coordinator, which I'm not super high on Tommy Rees. But, I don't know. They bring in Sam Hartman, which he had a huge problem at the end of last year turning the ball over, which he had not done his entire career. Yeah. He was one of those guys that just was consistent, didn't really put you in too many spots to lose the game, and he's a good quarterback on top of that. But then, from the halfway point, he just started throwing pick after pick, and you have to wonder if it's more so because he had kind of been figured out, where he on the passes that he threw picks, he was getting blitzed. Teams would just blitz him, and then he would just throw it up and someone would pick it off. So you have to wonder if he got figured out or if the offensive line was bad, because Wake Forest did have some injuries on their offensive line halfway through the year, and so you have to wonder if that is more so to blame. I think he's definitely going to have a much better offensive line at Notre Dame than he did at Wake Forest. The receivers are a bit of a question mark, but even if you think Marcus Freeman's not a good head coach, he's a phenomenal defensive coach. And so I think Notre Dame's going to have a great defense.
Yeah. I don't think
that's why I have them at number 8. I just think they're going to be, even with the question marks, I think they're going to be good. They're going to be improved over last year. What are you talking about? They finished with a decent record.
It's 8-4, I believe.
Yeah, 8-4 is not bad.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's not bad, but I'm just saying every year you hear the Notre Dame fans' expectations, and it almost feels like every year it's like that. Last year it's they knew they weren't a championship team. They knew they weren't at a caliber. They had some good wins, but then they also fell off. They had some horrible wins. Horrible losses. You can't have a horrible win. What am I talking about?
They were number 18 going into their bowl game, and they beat South Carolina.
Right, but I don't know. It's throughout the years, you just have some hiccups that you just can't let happen. Losing to Stanford is one of them.
Yeah, but that happened in the first half of the season. I'm more willing to...
Marshall, too? You lose to Marshall?
You lose to Marshall, second game of the year. I don't think... Again, I think...
But that's the other thing. You can't stumble out of the hurdles if you're, in your opinion, a top 10 team that wants to... Because if you're top 10, you're vying for a playoff spot. Can't have those hurdles. Can't stumble out of the gates.
Yeah, but I don't think that is going to be as much of a problem this year.
You can't have... but you can't have 2 losses and not be in the SEC to make the playoff. It's just not a thing.
Yeah. I agree with you, but number 8 isn't necessarily a playoff team, especially, top 4 is right now. They're in the contention.
You definitely are. I think, at a certain point, there's teams that it goes from, I don't know where the line is, per se, but there's a line where it's, at some point, it's, this is a playoff team, and at some point, this is, okay, we're vying for a BCS Bowl, win the conference, something like that.
It's somewhere around that like 12 to 15 line is typically where it's just like
right.
Okay,
and
the best you can hope for is a good season.
Yeah, I would say so. Like around the 12 to 15 for me is like where you're vying to like get into that playoffs. Preseason goals.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Because like we're Louisville fans. We've never had the expectation of making a playoff. We've always had the expectation.
Not preseason, no.
No, we've always, but the hopes of like Lamar Jackson does that to you. But what I'm trying to get at is like you're like, okay, see if you can't repeat the success and get to another Sugar Bowl, get to an Orange Bowl. You're not necessarily vying for what are the two bowls that are? Is it Fiesta and I forget?
Well, they rotate
for the playoffs.
Yeah, they rotate them.
I gotcha.
They rotate the Cotton, Fiesta, Rose, Sugar, and Peach Bowl.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to
and the Orange Bowl.
And to number 9, who I have at number 8, is Penn State.
Yeah, I'm just not super high on them.
I mean, like, I do have questions about their quarterback play in Drew Aller. I don't necessarily know what to expect from him. I do think James Franklin is a good coach.
Oh, he's a very good coach.
I think
he won at Vandy. He's a great coach.
Now, I definitely think that in terms of like the Big Ten, they're a tier below Michigan and Ohio State. Like,
yeah, I'll agree with that.
I don't necessarily know what to expect from them because it goes Ohio State, Michigan, and then there's Penn State, and then there's kind of the rest of the Big Ten. Not like in their own tier, but I'm like, Penn State sits alone in that tier 2 of Big Ten, where it's like, can they beat Michigan and Ohio State on a good night? Sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Can they have that good night? And then the other thing is like, they've also recently changed their whiteout. The whiteout used to be the biggest game of the year for Penn State. Now their whiteout is like, it's a random game this year, and a lot of fans are upset about it in the Happy Valley. Is that what they're called, the Happy Valley?
That's their stadium, yeah. I don't think that affects them, like their rankings.
Well, I'm just saying, like, there's not a lot of questions. They're good, they're consistent, but I don't think you can take them outside like the top 12. But
I just think that I have a lot of questions about their quarterback, Drew Aller, because he was a backup for. What's he been a backup for, like 2 years now?
Yeah.
They had Sean Clifford for a long time. And, yeah, you look at the record, they went 11-2, or 10-2 through the regular season last year. That was a very overachieving season for them. They weren't expected to go 10-2. I don't know if they can repeat that. Or repeat it or build upon it.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know what their out-of-conference schedule is, per se, but their 2 losses right now are Michigan, Ohio State. I mean, they might be able to pull off an upset, but they're like 9-3, 10-2, as things stand.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Drew Aller. He could be good. I'm not denying that at all. But I mean, they play West Virginia, which they're going to win that game. Calling it now. They play Illinois at Illinois, which I don't think that's just going to be a gimme. And then they play at Michigan State, which we'll see how good Michigan State is this year. But yeah, I mean, going off their schedule, they don't have a super tough schedule. They've got 2 very tough games, but they don't have a super tough schedule.
I would say Iowa might be interesting too, but
it depends.
I mean,
they've still got the same offensive coordinator.
I have Iowa in my top 25.
I absolutely did not.
I mean, if they can figure out that offense, the defense is phenomenal.
Iowa has the same offensive coordinator. I don't know if they're going to be any good.
Yeah, who knows? It is a good question, though. All right.
Yeah, number 10, we were in agreement about this.
Yeah.
It's Clemson.
Talked
a little bit about them before.
I hate putting Clemson here, but I have to put Clemson here.
Yeah.
Nothing about this team screams like playoff bound or anything like that for me. Like,
I think it's all dependent on.
If they weren't in the ACC and like if it wasn't for Florida State standing in their way, it'd probably be a cakewalk for them. But nothing about this team has oohs and ahs about it. Like I'm Cade Klubin. I mean, he took the starting job for DJ
Klubnik.
He took the starting job from DJ. I can't say his last name.
DJ Uiagalelei.
There you go. I mean, he did that. They only had one transfer in. I personally think that Dabo Swinney really hates this new wave of NIL deals and transfer portal and how basically every single player on your roster is on a 1-year contract, more or less.
Yeah, he's not embracing it at all.
He is not embracing it at all, and part of that makes me want to be like, if you're not going to change with the times, you're going to get forgotten.
Yeah.
And I think they're on their way to doing that right now.
I think you're right. I think the question with Clemson is exactly what I said. I think it's how good is Cade Klubnik going to be? How well is that offense under Garrett Riley going to flow? You know, how smooth is that transition going to be? Because Garrett Riley was the offensive coordinator at TCU last year. Yeah. TCU could really put up points.
Yeah.
You know, his brother is Lincoln Riley, who's also very good. I think it's very, very possible that Clemson is better than people are thinking they are.
They just scream right now to me that old way of thinking, and I feel like if you don't start to change, you're gonna be forgotten. And I think may not be this year, may not be next year, but within the next 3 years, I'm calling it Clemson. If they don't change their ways of the way that they're entering the transfer portal, it's gonna be tough years for them.
I would agree with that, but I still think they're going to be good this year. All right. Now 11. Go 11. Let's go 11 through 15. Let's speed it up a little bit.
Okay. Washington
11.
Washington 11. Love me some Michael Penix Jr. I think he's a top quarterback in the league.
Yes, he's very good.
I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to be very good.
I mean, he led Indiana to a great record in the COVID year.
Yeah, I think he's going to challenge USC, but I think USC is just too good of a team, and I do think Washington is by far the second best team in the Pac-12, though. I think I have them ahead of Utah and Oregon State.
Yeah, in my rankings, I had Washington 11, which is where they are, but I had Utah at 9.
Mm-hmm.
I think Utah is going to be very good.
Right.
And then at number 12, we have Utah.
Yeah. Cam Rising, another good quarterback, very good quarterback.
Yeah.
Kyle Whittingham, another good coach.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have any issues per se with them. Only brought in one transfer, and it was a kicker. Not really too much to be said about Utah.
Yeah, I mean,
consistent team.
They've been a good team the last 2 years.
Borderline playoff team a couple of times. Had a couple of chances to get in and couldn't finish. But
yeah,
it'll be interesting.
Next we've got Texas. Texas at 13.
I have a lot in Texas. To me, is very similar to Notre Dame. I have them ranked right next to each other. Good quarterbacks in their transfer quarterbacks. Sam Ewers, Quinn Ewers, and Sam Hartman. Just got those names combined. Young coaches who are just now starting out with their teams.
Well, Steve Sarkisian's been a coach before.
Well, he's been a coach before, but I'm just saying, like, getting back into it and being at a top program like Texas, I think it's interesting. How do you manage that? Texas, I'm really high on their linebacker, Anthony Hill, who's a true freshman coming in. I think he's going to be an absolute dog for them.
All right.
He's like my top recruit out of that class, even though I know Arch Manning came in. But I think Arch Manning is going to be sitting behind Quinn Ewers for at least 2 years unless he finds a way to beat him out.
Yeah, I think Quinn Ewers is going to have the job until either he gets hurt and then Arch Manning comes in and is better, or until he goes pro. They also have fantastic receivers at Texas. They've got Steve Sarkisian, who is going to be he's super creative offensively. I think Texas is going to be I don't think they're back-to-back, but I think Texas is going to be good this year.
Yeah. I don't know. I know they got Alabama in week 2. That would be an interesting
Yes,
game.
at Alabama.
At Alabama. It'll be interesting to see what they do there. But, like, I don't know. Like, to me, Texas is, like, it's got a shot for the playoffs. Just because of, like, their schedule. If they can get past Alabama, if they can perform well in the Big 12. I don't see any Big 12 teams in
Yeah, no, they are the highest ranked Big 12 team in our ranking.
And at 13. I have them at 13 as well.
Yeah, we were unanimous about Texas.
Yeah. And now here's where the disagreements are. Because I really like Tennessee. And we have them at 14. I'm at 11. Joe Milton, I think, is a good quarterback. Josh, how do you say their coach's name?
Heupel.
I think he's a good coach.
He's surprisingly been a good coach.
And I also want to point out, I think they have like some of the most upperclassmen on the defensive side of the ball. I was looking through their depth chart, and I think looking at them, they don't have a sophomore or freshman starter at all for a good while. Like even like their second strings, I think they're a veteran team. They got a shot to run through this SEC, but the issue is that the SEC is really good. And I think there's a lot of teams that they're going to have to try and get through. And I don't see them getting through all of them, but I think they're going to be a really good team this year.
Yeah, I had them 15 in my rankings. Not far off from where we have them collectively. I'm really kind of having my way with this top 25.
Yeah.
Just how it worked out.
If you had to take a guess on who the third-party person was and who he sided with, we'll just say that much. But
it was an independent third party. He was my friend, but he was independent.
I mean, it was independent. But yeah, I was like, sure, whatever. But yeah, I really like Tennessee. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna have a really exciting offense. The spread that Josh Heupel does is crazy. How they're just sideline to sideline.
And I also think they got the top quarterback in last year's recruiting class in Nico Lamaleja.
I mean, sure, but he's not going to play.
If Joe Milton goes down, I think he could step in and fill that role pretty well as a true freshman. And I think that's the other part of me that really likes Tennessee too, is that I feel like they have a guy that if something were to happen, they have a good backup plan.
Yeah. Yeah, next we've got Oregon at 15.
Yeah, Bo Nix, top quarterback in my opinion. Really good. I have him at 15 too.
I think I had Oregon at 14. I think Oregon's going to be good. I think Oregon's really good. I think Dan Lanning is a really creative head coach. He's one of those guys that pretty sure Dan Lanning never played football.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was like a Mike Leach. Never played football.
That's funny.
They also have Will Stein now as their offensive coordinator, which he did like an assistant coaches summit where he kind of gave like a TED talk type of thing. The way he looks at offenses, it's all about like numbers. Like you want to like hit, 2 deep passes in a quarter. You want to run it up the middle 4 times in a quarter. It's very like analytic driven. It sounded very, I mean, it was scripted, but it sounded great when he was talking about it.
It's also like could be like unpredictedness. Like if you take the human element out of play calling, because we're creatures of habit.
I was wrong, by the way.
He's a former.
Dan Lanning sure did play football. Don't even know where I heard that.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, we're just 2 idiots with a mic.
Yeah, no, right. No kidding. What do we know?
I think they're going to be good. I think they've got a lot of talent.
They got Jordan Birch coming in from South Carolina, edge, who I think just got his job taken by Nicholas Harbor, who's a very good edge rusher coming into South Carolina, but we'll get to that. Moving on, Kansas State. Chris Kleiman, Will Howard at quarterback. Will Howard, I got some questions about. Not sure how he will do. Do think Kleiman is a very good head coach. You wanted him for the U of L job. When
yes,
we were searching
I think. Yes, I think Chris Kleiman is a fantastic head coach. He was the head coach at North Dakota State before taking the job at Kansas State, and at Kansas State, he's been amazing.
He's been consistent.
Kansas State.
Did they win the Big 12?
They did. They won it last year.
Yeah.
They beat TCU.
Yeah, they sure did.
And so Kansas State has done this thing in recent years since hiring Chris Kleiman where they will just take whatever transfer from Louisville isn't getting playing time or doesn't want to play at Louisville, and then they'll just be incredible at Kansas State, and they're all in the NFL, and it's like, well, they weren't that good at Louisville, so I think Chris Kleiman's the type of coach that just squeezes every ounce of talent that he can out of players.
Yeah,
I think he's very good, and I think
Kansas State.
They lost some guys to the NFL. I still think they're going to be really good.
Yeah. Big 12 will be interesting this year with all these teams close to each other. Next, another purple team out of the Big 12. We have TCU. Horned Frogs.
At number 17.
Yeah. It's Dykes, good coach. Chandler Morris, question marks about him as quarterback.
Not sure. They lost a lot.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, and they lost Garrett Riley. So they're going to be running a new offense. So I think it's interesting. It's interesting. This is the only team that or the first team at least, that there was a lot of question marks about, that I was not sure about the questions. With Notre Dame, there was a lot of question marks. I didn't have a problem with that. You know?
Yeah. I will say they basically had a max exodus of backups from Alabama who are coming to TCU now, and it'll be interesting to see what they can do with playing time. Like, I have Tommy Brockermeyer here, offensive tackle with Alabama, who came over here. He was the number 2 recruit in the nation. Never got playing time in Alabama. I'm interested to see what he can do in college football.
Yeah, I'm a little bit questionable about the Alabama offensive line transfers, just because their O-line is not what it used to be last year. So if you were transferring out of Alabama, I mean, they have potential. They're all highly recruited guys.
Absolutely.
But if you're transferring out of Alabama at offensive line from last year because you weren't getting playing time, I'm a little bit curious about it.
Yeah.
But they could be good, you know? A new scenery could be just what the doctor ordered for them. They could all be really good. I don't know. I'm not a great football mind.
Yeah. Next, we got Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin.
The Lane Drain.
And Jackson Dart.
Yes, Jackson Dart.
I honestly don't know what to say about this team.
I don't know. Yeah.
I really like their wide receiver that they got, Zachary Franklin from UTSA. Easily UTSA's best player last year, in my opinion, alongside Frank Harris, their quarterback. So I think it will be interesting to see what they will add with that. Great addition, but I don't know. I mean, like, Ole Miss is like one of those teams where it's like when they had Matt Corral, it was like, okay, like they're doing something, and then they just kind of didn't, and then they, like, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I think there was more hype with that. With Matt Corral, I think their schedule just got tougher.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. I think it was a little bit of fool's gold with them because they looked better than they were, and then as soon as they started playing the Alabamas of the world, it got harder.
I remember they played that Kentucky team where the Kentucky was a really good team. I want to say because they were winning and they were highly ranked into the top 10. So was Ole Miss, and Ole Miss won that game.
Yeah, that was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the thing about Ole Miss is that even though they lost Matt Corral, they've got this, they've had this new guy, Jackson Dart in. There hasn't been much of a drop-off. Like, they're still pretty good. And I have faith in Lane Kiffin. I think he's good. I think he's a very good coach. I had him 18 in my list, and they're 18 in our list.
Yeah, you seem to be winning this. I don't know.
Yeah,
they're allowed this. Because,
it's just averages.
For me, I have 20, and so yeah. Next we have North Carolina. Really good coach, Mac Brown. Arguably, you could argue, has the best quarterback in college football, and Sam Howell. But I personally think it's Caleb Williams. But I think Sam Howell, easily, these two guys
It's not Sam Howell.
How you say it?
No, that's not their quarterback anymore. He graduated.
Oh,
He's in the NFL. They're Drake May is their quarterback.
Oh, Drake May. I have the wrong name. Yeah, Drake May. I meant to say Drake
Luke
May.
May's brother.
Yeah, my bad.
Drake May is phenomenal.
Yeah, both of them. No, I just say both UNC quarterbacks. Very good. But Drake May, yes, I have him second overall. I don't know why I have the wrong name here.
I don't know either.
That's unfortunate. But yes, Drake May, definitely potential first-round pick with Caleb Williams next year.
Yeah, I mean, early
Second.
Like the way too early mock drafts, have them 1 and 2.
Because they clearly are.
Their offense is fantastic. Their defense, we talked about it a little bit before. They couldn't really stop a nosebleed to begin the year, and then it shored up a little bit. But I don't know. They lost some players. They lost, I believe, Cameron Kelly.
Yeah.
They lost Storm Duck. Greatest name in college football right now. They were all ACC players.
Storm Duck, I believe, was at Penn State. Am I wrong?
So both of them, Cameron Kelly went to Virginia and then Storm Duck went to Penn State. Both of them, after transferring to those schools, transferred out again, into Louisville.
Oh, okay.
But they were both all ACC players. So it's not like their team was devoid of talent on defense.
Right.
They had talent. They got better throughout the year. It's just they lost players, so it's going to be interesting to see if they will be more like the beginning of the year or the end of the year to start.
Time will tell. Next at 20, we have Tulane. I won this one. I have Tulane 19.
Yeah, I don't know where I had Tulane.
I have, I don't know.
I had him 20.
I have 19.
Oh, so I won this one.
No, you didn't. Whatever. I think they have a good quarterback in Michael Pratt. I think he'll be really good for them. I don't see them losing their conference. I don't see it happening. I'm not sure about their out of conference schedule and what they have going on for them, but
I mean, Tulane, I think the group of 5 schools tend to be underrated. I think typically when there's a team that's good, they're going to stay good unless it's like an instance of they have an NFL quarterback and that's why they're good, and then as soon as they lose that quarterback, they're going to suck. Or they have a coach that's good. The coach is still there. The quarterback's still there.
Tulane.
And they've been good the last 2 years. I just feel like they're going to keep it up.
Tulane in week 2 plays Ole Miss, but outside of that and UTSA, I don't really see them stumbling too much. I mean, they might stumble. I mean, the thing about it, last year, it's just...
Yeah, I mean, they play North Texas. That's not going to be a cakewalk. They play Memphis. We'll see how good Memphis is.
UCF team a few years ago that beat Auburn in the Sugar Bowl, I want to say.
Yes.
They could be like that UCF team. It'll be interesting to see. It's a weak schedule. If they get through it, we'll see where they are.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between those teams is that UCF didn't play anyone non-conference, and they finished 12-0.
Yeah.
And then they still didn't make the playoff.
No, I'm not.
I don't know if Tulane is going to finish 12-0.
I think they got.
They could.
They could definitely do it. But the thing about it is, I don't think there'd be a playoff team going 12-0. I don't think they have the schedule for it. If they go 12-0, they go 12-0. But it's definitely BCS Bowl, but it's not.
Yeah.
Playoff bound. But hey, moving on, we got Oregon State. New transfer quarterback in DJ.
Yeah, DJ Uiagalelei.
Yeah, he just recently got drafted by the Dodgers. Funny enough, 20th round. Apparently, he's a right-handed pitcher too. But yeah. Anyway, who cares what he does on the baseball diamond? We care about what he does on the gridiron. So
today we do, yes. But I don't know. I don't know about Oregon State. I think they're going to be good. They were 9-3 last year in the regular season. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to build on that. Yeah. I just don't think. I don't think DJ Uiagalelei is going to take him over the top.
No, he lost his job at Clemson. He was rather underperformed at Clemson.
Yeah. I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see.
I think he's just going to keep them as a good team.
Yeah, just a steady team. Moving on.
Yeah, next we got Wisconsin. You won here.
Yeah, I did. I have them 21.
I did not have them ranked at all.
The reason why I had them 21 is because they're a head coach. I think he's one of the top head coaches in the league. or in college football.
Yeah.
I think he's a really good coach, and I think he's going to be able to coach them to some wins, if there is such a thing.
Yeah, and they started off the year pretty bad last year. They got a little bit better. Did they make a bowl game?
I'm not sure, honestly.
But I mean, they have talent. They had a good transfer class coming in. Tanner Mordecai is supposed to be very, very good. I don't know if they're a top 25 team yet. Like, I think they need to build before.
They won in the Las Vegas Bowl against Arizona State.
Yeah, so they made a bowl game last year. They had talent last year. And I could absolutely see them being top 25.
They had some bad losses, but then had like some okay wins. Like they beat Iowa pretty well. And then
they beat Purdue, who ended up winning the Big Ten West.
Yeah, Northwestern destroyed Rutgers. Lost big to Michigan and Notre Dame, but barely lost to Penn State to start the year. But hey, we'll see.
Yeah, I did. They were definitely in consideration for my top 25, serious consideration. Mm-hmm. I left them out because I think they could work their way into the top 25. I didn't want to put him there to begin with.
Yeah. Next we have South Carolina.
South Carolina,
in my mock, I put them 26, so technically not in the top 25, but right outside. So you won this one.
Yeah. Everything's a competition with you.
You're the one who's saying I win. I'm just pointing it out.
Yeah, I think South Carolina is going to be good. I like Shane Beamer. I think he's a good coach. Spencer Rattler absolutely has what it takes. He was a former 5-star quarterback.
I think he's figured it out since losing his job to Caleb Williams in Oklahoma and transferring. I think after 1 year at South Carolina, he started to figure it out, and he started to look really good. I have him 11th overall as quarterbacks in terms of like quarterbacks and what.
I mean, he was very good to end the year. He was a little rocky at the beginning of the year. I think a lot of people forget that, but he finished the year great.
I also want to just highlight South Carolina and the beast in Nicholas Harbor and what they're getting with this defensive end. He is like 6'5" and he wins 100-meter dashes and runs like a 4.3. It's ridiculous. This man is a freak athlete, and you'll see it this year.
You think he's gonna make an impact this year?
Oh, absolutely. Like him and like Caleb Downs and like Anthony Hill are like the three guys on defense that I have that will make an impact as true freshmen this year of this top 25 list. Like this guy, if he's not on the field, I don't understand why he wouldn't be. Like he's a freak athlete. I'm so high on this guy. Like he's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, he might be good. I don't know if he's going to be good enough to move him way up the top 25. But
I don't necessarily. I think he'll be a good player. Like he might just be. This is going to be a hot take, but he might just be as good as Javion Clowney at South Carolina. Like that's the bar I'm setting for him.
That's pretty high.
That's how like I don't like first overall pick. Like he's.
Wow.
Like, I don't think he'll be the first overall pick in 3 years. We'll see how he does in college. But I'm so high on this guy. I am extremely high on this guy.
Well,
he is so good.
For your and Nicholas's sake, I hope he's good.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
All right. So we got UTSA. I have him 23rd in my ranking. I think Frank Harris is a top 25 quarterback in college football. I just think they're just going to be consistently good again.
Yeah, UTSA has been good the past several years. Jeff Traylor is very good head coach.
They have a difficult out of conference schedule. They play Tennessee week 4 and they play Houston week 1. I think Houston is in their conference. No.
No, not anymore. Houston is now part of the Big 12.
Right. So they have Houston week 1. They have Tennessee week 4. I think those will be fun games to watch because I'm high on UTSA. UTSA, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they'll probably win that Houston game. I think
I think
Houston
it'll be a fun
is.
game. I think
Well,
it's a close spread. Like I think Houston's favored in it.
it is at Houston,
Right.
but
But yeah, they got Tennessee.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think Dana Holgerson is on the hot seat, but I think his seat's a little warm.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with that Houston team.
And then finally, to round out our top 25, we have Texas Tech.
Don't have them anywhere near my list.
Yes, they were in my top 25. I think I had them 23. Yep, that's where I had them. I think Texas Tech is going to put up a ton of points. I think they're just going to be a really fun Big 12 team to watch. And that's why I've got them 25. I don't have them higher than that because I think the defense is going to hold them back. But they're going to be very fun to watch, I think. And they were better last year than I was expecting. Probably better than a lot of people were expecting.
I don't have anything to comment about Texas Tech, unfortunately. I don't have too much to say about them.
Who else do you have in your top 25 that wasn't in?
I liked Iowa. I really did.
Yeah.
I liked Iowa. I had Iowa 25th. I had Kentucky 24th for me. I think with Devin Leary coming in, with that good defense that Mark Stoops puts up, and I hate to admit it, but Mark Stoops is a top coach in, like, at least top 20, in my opinion, in college football. And I hate to admit
I don't know about that.
I hate to admit it, but he's a good coach. He stumbled out of the gates at Kentucky and started to figure it out. They got a good quarterback coming in from NC State who's one of the top sought-after quarterback transfers. I don't really see why Kentucky can't be good this year.
I still have questions about the offensive line. It was like Swiss cheese last year. And they brought in a bunch of transfers, so we'll see if they work out. It very easily could work out because I think they have very good college receivers. They always tend to have a good running back. Devin Leary is a very good quarterback. It all depends on the offensive line. And then Iowa, I just don't think. I think their offense is going to suck again.
I mean, they were able to poach a good tight end from Michigan and Eric Hall to come over there, and I'm interested to see what they can do. I think this is my one reach I have because I put them 25th. I was like, we'll see what they can do. The offense has been horrendous. The defense has been tremendous. We'll just see if they can figure out that offense. But
yeah, I mean, I only had two teams in my top 25 that didn't get in as well. I had Texas A&M and I had Pittsburgh.
Pitt is interesting.
Yeah, I think they've got Phil Dracovic, which he started off at Notre Dame, then left, transferred to Boston College. Was okay at Boston College, but Boston College sucks, so he didn't have a whole lot of... He had Zay Flowers, which helped him, but that was about it. And I think Phil Dracovic is going to be better than Keaton Slovis was for them last year. They've got Pat Narduzzi, very good defensive coach. I think they're going to be good.
Yeah.
And then Texas A&M, they've got so much talent. There's a reason Texas A&M was like number 6 preseason last year. Is because they have so much talent. Now, last year was like all freshmen, basically, which I think they got overrated because their recruiting class was so high. And freshmen don't make too much of an impact in college.
To be fair, a lot of those guys went out. A&M, I just don't see it. And also, I'm kind of cheering for the demise of Jimbo Fisher. But
I mean, it'd be fun to see, but I think they're going to be good.
I don't know. It's like all those freshmen that came in were on one-year deals, and a lot of them transferred out. Like, A&M is a revolving door of get your bag and get out. Like, I really am interested to see what he can do. I mean, he's quote-unquote got the talent, but...
Yeah. I think A&M's got a lot of talent. They've got... I mean, not everyone left
So, like,
from that recruiting class.
Looking at our rankings, though, like, what is considered successful for A&M? They have to beat an LSU, a Tennessee. Do they have to beat a Georgia or Alabama? Like,
I mean, they're going to
South
play
Carolina?
Alabama. They're going to play LSU.
Do they have to beat Ole Miss? Like, we have SEC's really good. Like, and like, what is considered a good year for them? Are they 8-4? Are they 7-5? Like,
I think a good year for them is probably 8-4.
really?
I think they could do better. I think they definitely
Do
could
they
do
have
worse.
that? Do they have the ability to do that with their schedule? You said 8-4.
Yeah.
All right.
They play New Mexico to start, then they play at Miami, then they play Louisiana Monroe and Auburn.
So 4-0 start.
Good chance they're 4-0. They also play Arkansas. It's a winnable game. It's a losable game. Then they play Alabama. Don't think they're going to win that. They play Tennessee.
At Tennessee.
At Tennessee. They're probably not going to win that. South Carolina. I think that's a toss-up. At Ole Miss. Probably a toss-up. Mississippi State. Not going to be easy.
They basically have to win the games they have to win and win one more.
Yeah.
Be 8-4 because I don't see them beating Tennessee, Alabama, or LSU. Now the Ole Miss South Carolina games will be fun games to watch, and if they drop both of those, that's 5 losses right there.
Yeah.
I mean, they basically have to win those 2 toss-ups to be 9-3 to 7-5, which is a huge difference. Those 2 games.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think 7-5 is the worst season in the world. It probably gets Jimbo Fisher fired.
Oh, definitely gets him fired.
But I don't think it's the worst season of the world for him.
I mean, if you got all that talent coming in, I mean, like, you gotta do something with it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
And speaking of the SEC, what do you make of all of this Tennessee news that basically came out?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, Tennessee had 200 level, not level 1. They had over 200 just violations, period. They had 18 level 1.
Yeah, it was 18 level 1s.
They basically got like recruiting punishments and like almost $9 million.
They basically lost the contract of Nico Lamalea that they paid to get Nico Lamalea there in $8 million. They basically also had what was it? It was like for unofficial. They lost unofficial visits, a certain number. I forget how many, and then they also lost a number of scholarships they're allowed to have, which I think is complete, in other words, crap. Because in this day and age, with scholarships mean nothing. Okay, we are in the day and age of NIL deals, and for the caliber of Tennessee and the donors that they have and the boosters they have, $8 million is a slap on the wrist. That's for one top tier player that they got in Nico Lamalea, as well as the scholarships mean nothing. If you don't have a scholarship, but they're paying you 6 figures to come to school there, you can still pay for. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, I know what you mean, but like,
what is the point of scholarships being suspended here?
Well, okay, so from what you're saying, a scholarship that's like extra money.
Well, it's money.
That's added on money.
That's
you know,
all it is.
it's money that the school can pay you. Plus, you would via donors, the school is going to work out NIL for you. But the NIL that players get is not the school's money.
No, but
unless you're in Texas, which apparently they can do that now.
Well, all I'm saying though is that what is preventing this team from just being like, yeah, we can't offer you technically, but we will offer you this much NIL money to come here. And what's the difference in that point? Because we'll be like, okay, we're gonna offer you this much money, but this much has to go towards you being on school, room and board, and all that other crap. It's just a logistical nightmare. I feel like at a certain point. I mean,
I don't think it's the loss of scholarships is not that bad. What you're saying, it's not that serious a punishment. They don't have to lose all those scholarships in 1 year. They can spread it over the course of 5 years.
Is that they vacated 2 wins, 2 seasons worth of wins.
Yeah, 11 wins.
Yeah.
Which I think that's the stupidest punishment, vacating wins.
I mean, I get why you do it because the part of it's do you punish the university or do you punish the people that did this? And so the show causes that they put on Jeremy Pruitt and all these other coaching staff and recruiters and stuff like that, I think is good. If you get caught doing it as an individual, you need to be punished. Not the... I mean, the university as a whole, if you're already gone and you're out and you're no longer in the program and you punish the program, this still stings deep with everything that happened with our basketball program because it's very similar situations, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But granted, what Louisville did was way worse, in my opinion. But
I mean, yes. What with the
right with everything,
with Katrina Powell, yeah.
we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But
I just think I'm glad they didn't give him a postseason ban. They said it was because they complied.
they complied, and they all.
I think that's BS.
Well, they did they restricted the number of scholarships they already have.
Yeah.
And then they did certain things, but it's like at the same time, basically what they did is like they did like the minimum amount that would be seen acceptable by the NCAA. Plus, with this whole situation, I really think the NCAA has just lost its power with NIL coming in.
That's why I think they didn't give him a ban. I think they didn't give him a postseason ban because the perception of the NCAA is just it's in the toilet.
Well, what power does the NCAA now have as a governing body now that players can get paid basically? Because it used to be you come for the scholarships, NCAA divvies out the scholarships of however many you can have per program. You take away the scholarships, they can no longer that hurts a program. But now it's like a kid doesn't necessarily need a scholarship to come play because it's now being seen as a business and not a student athlete.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I still think a scholarship is something. You know, if you're being offered $400,000 a year to go play at Alabama, or $450,000 a year to go play at Tennessee, but there's no scholarship waiting at Tennessee, the scholarship probably factors into it.
Well, also let's just be real here in that those two schools you listed for $50K more, I'm taking the $50K less and going to Alabama because Alabama's that much more prestigious than Tennessee. But that's my opinion on the two programs. But it's like, I don't know. On one hand, I'm like, the NCAA did something and they punished the people who did this, which I think is good. And I think that's all you really can do. That's the only power they have is basically restricting and putting show causes on the people that did stuff.
And fining.
Right, but I mean, like, fining the university $8 million.
That's a lot of money.
It is, but at some point, it's like, what donor isn't going to donate something to the university and help pay that fine? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, the only reason why I say it is because, like, I know, like, NIL is finally balancing out and stuff like that, you know? Where it's coming from, like Nico got paid a ridiculous amount of money in $8 million. I don't think any other player is going to get paid anywhere close to that now, and the market's starting to balance out. But, like, at one point, it's just one Nico contract. That's what it is. It's one top quarterback.
I mean, again, but the Tennessee's not paying for him to play there. The donors are. The collectives are.
Yeah, but who's to say that the donors aren't going to pay for that fine either? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, I do. I just don't think it's a guarantee. I mean, I don't know. I don't have too much of an issue with it. $8 million.
So many gray lines with college sports right now.
Yeah.
NIL.
I mean, because like ultimately mostly what they got in trouble for was for paying players, which is now legal. Yeah. So you don't want to punish them too much for that.
Well, no, it was also what they got in trouble for was they were paying for unofficial visits, which you weren't allowed to. I don't know if you are allowed to now either.
You're probably still not, but
so it was funny. It was like, so it was also the text messages that came out with all the situation. It was basically like one assistant or whatever was like, yeah, keep this on the down low. Let's not talk about this, basically. And paraphrasing here, but one coach replied like, God damn, this motherfucker is expensive. Like, talking about like this kid won $30K. Also came out as a report, which I think is really funny, is Darnell Henderson, the tight end who just got drafted by the Steelers from Georgia, was one of these players who did the unofficial visit and got paid, and he committed to Georgia, which I think is
yeah.
really funny.
Oh, the funniest thing is like the Dennis Smiths of the world, who Dennis Smith Jr. Yeah, he played at NC State. Yeah. He like took money from like Zion did the same thing. Yeah. Zion took money from like 3 different schools, and then was like, "Oh, screw you guys, I'm gonna go play at Duke."
Oh, there was a story about Eric Dickerson on how he took money from when he was like in this Eric Dickerson, you know,
running back, way back.
He took money from some Texas school. I want to say it was A&M or somewhere around there, and basically took the money for them to verbally commit to their school, and then signed this national letter of intent to SMU. Like I mean,
which SMU at the time was also paying people. Yeah, yeah, the Pony Express.
Which is just funny though. Get that.
I mean, you know,
it's a bidding war, but these players are finessing these collegiate.
I mean, back when it was like Nike and Adidas paying for all of it, like who cares? Get your money.
Right.
Like I don't care. I don't have an issue with that. It's funny. I think personally, but.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, we got Northwestern now. The insanity going on at Northwestern.
Oh yeah, broke by the news.
Yes.
Newspaper at Northwestern.
The student newspaper for Northwestern.
Investigative reporting on Northwestern.
Which the way they did it was they just announced that they had some stuff about allegations about Pat Fitzgerald, and then the university said like, "Oh, we're gonna hire a law firm to do our own investigation," and then they did it, and then they were like, "Okay, 2-week suspension without pay or with pay, whatever it was, during the summer, not even start the season, during the summer, 2-week suspension." They thought that was good enough, and then the paper released all their findings. Yeah. So then they had to walk back and then be like, "Okay, we're gonna fire this guy."
It's ridiculous. Yeah, some of the things is like. So, black players forced to cut their hair a certain way. Black coaches forced to do the same thing of threats of unemployment. But that's not even like the worst stuff, apparently. The major stuff was the hazing activities that some former players even said, like, yeah, that was going on. And they played back all the way back to 2007, basically. Which is insane.
Yeah.
This has been going on for 15, 16 years.
And there have been some conflicting reports whether or not Pat Fitzgerald
knew about it.
Not only knew about it, like actively took place in it.
Really?
Yeah, but it's conflicting. Either way, he had to have known about it. Well, this doesn't happen for 16 years without you knowing about it.
Some of the stuff, like I don't even know if we're allowed to say.
I don't know. It's like it's hazing. It's classic stupid frat hazing. You know, it's like it's dumb.
I mean,
it's so weird.
It's not even that. It's worse than that. It's not even frat hazing. Frat hazing, in my opinion, is like you getting a person drunk and like stuff like that.
They did like naked stuff,
this
right?
Is sexual. Like,
that's a lot of frat hazing.
This is sexual harassment. Like
that's a lot of frat hazing. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but. No, at the same time.
No, it is. That's what frats do.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It absolutely is.
No, it's not. I got friends in frats. And
do you have friends in frats at U of L?
Yes.
U of L is not a super Greek life place.
I'm just saying, though.
Like the places that are insane about it.
Yeah.
They do all that like homoerotic stuff, and it's so weird. It's so weird because it's.
But I'm just saying, the people I know have never experienced anything close to this.
But that definitely happens at frats.
I'm not saying it doesn't.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, like, from my personal experiences and from the experiences I know of other people around me.
Whether it happens or not, it's still crazy.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's like, it's so strange to me because whoever comes up with this idea, they're like, oh, I've got an idea. Let's make them all get naked and do whatever. It's like, that is a gay thing. It's like, if you're gay, who cares? But why is that now a joke? Like, it feels like the people that came up with this and then perpetuated it for so many years need to have a long look in a mirror.
And then there was a report of it was a former quarterback who reportedly leaked it, who transferred out. Let me see if I can't find the name, but it was a former...
Yeah, I mean, the fact that this stuff probably went on for so long because the transfer portal has not been a thing until recently.
It's been stuck in there for 3 years or 4 years.
Yeah, no, you go there and essentially all this is happening to you. It's forced to happen to you. And then you're told, like, oh, if you tell, you're off the team. Yeah. Like, there goes your scholarship. There goes your potential pathway to the NFL. Because Pat Fitzgerald has had some good teams at Northwestern.
Not last year.
No, not at all. They were terrible.
He went 1-11 last year.
I mean, he's had some very bad years too, but he has had some good years.
Yeah.
And so...
But on another note, within 2 weeks now of that coming out, or a week of that coming out, they also fired their baseball coach for reports of bullying.
Yeah.
Which, shout out to the newspaper who also reported that as well.
Well, they have a very good journalism program at Northwestern.
You know.
They sure do.
Oh my God. Whoever's doing the investigative reporting really had it figured out. Because they basically were like, okay, we're going to get basically 2 of our highest paid employees fired. Which I don't know if that's the goal going into the journalism part, but that's the point. But it's like, you just report your findings. But
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, if it's going on, and I don't know how long the bullying was going on at the
baseball. No, I haven't really
for
looked
baseball,
into it too much.
but I know that for both, Jim Phillips was the AD.
Who is now the ACC commissioner.
Yeah, which that's concerning.
That's a great look.
Because at the very least, he was just unaware and ignorant about what was going on at his own athletic department,
right.
and still signed off. Like every year, like athletic directors have to like sign off on coaches, like saying like you're doing an exemplary job or whatever, and he signed off on them year after year. And then as soon as this did come out, like an assistant AD resigned from Northwestern. And so clearly it was like a systemic thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Which it makes you wonder if this is going on in any other sports at Northwestern. Not just Northwestern, but Northwestern obviously because there's a microscope on them.
It's got to be a culture thing.
Yeah.
It definitely is. Like, you got to fix that. I mean, like, Jesus.
Yeah, I don't...
This is,
It's crazy. It's just crazy that anyone does that. I just...
Right.
I don't know.
All right.
Moving on, we got another insane firing story. We got Bob Huggins.
Shout out Bob Huggins. No, according to him, he never got fired. He never resigned. He never got fired, nor did he resign.
Yeah.
So if y'all don't know, Bob Huggins basically blew a .21 in Pittsburgh under the influence over the legal limit. Cars reportedly stopped the car on the side of the road with shredded tires, and he blew almost 2.5 times.
Yeah.
2.5 times the legal
In Pittsburgh, and thought he was in Columbus, which is insane.
Which I find to be one of the funniest parts of the story.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. You know, when I was in 4th grade, you know, like the DARE program and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the health teacher came and was talking to us about like the effect of drugs on your body and your mind and everything, and he was telling us about the effect of alcohol on your brain. And as a 9-year-old hearing that, I was like, well, this sounds hilarious. So I was laughing. I thought it was because it was funny. And then my teacher, trying to, I assume, scare me out of ever drinking alcohol, was like, you think it's funny? Huh? What if that wall were a dog?
What?
I don't know. It worked on me. I was like, oh, I guess I hadn't thought about that.
If the wall was a dog?
Yeah. She's just describing like acid. If she was saying, what if I thought the wall was a dog because I was drunk?
Well, that's just incorrect.
Well, no. I know it's incorrect. It's stupid. But I mean, think about it. If you were with a drunk person and they thought that a wall was like Clifford the Big Red Dog and started petting it, that would be hysterical.
Are you trying to say that Bob Huggins thought when he was driving that he saw Clifford the Big Red Dog?
No.
On the side of the road, it's ready.
No, he thought he was in Columbus because he was that drunk.
Oh my God. I mean, but anyway, more to the story is that the way that he resigned, or reportedly resigned from West Virginia, was he wrote an email as a form of resignation and later claimed that he didn't write it, that his wife wrote it, and that he did not mean to resign, and that you cannot take this as a form of resignation because his wife wrote the email.
Yeah, wrote an email, and then also part of it is that in the contract to officially resign, he would need a handwritten letter given to the athletic department and I believe either the president or the board at West Virginia. And so, like, that's in the contract for the university's protection. Like, if they get an email for resignation, they can just be like, okay, cool, we'll waive that part. I don't care. To me, this feels like a last-ditch effort for Bob Hubbins. No, I don't think it's to get his job back. I think it's to get paid. Oh. I think he just wants to settle this out of court or something, or because he was fired with cause.
Right, as there was definitely cause.
Yeah, there was plenty of cause. There was cause, 3 months earlier, or something like that.
Well,
from when he
got suspended
said the F slur.
Yeah, good old F word on radio.
Yeah. So there was plenty of cause, but I think he's trying to get out of that. But even if it does work, he is fired with cause. Like, he's not going to get his buyout. I don't get it.
Yeah, West Virginia's basically moved on. Already hired their new coach. He's already brought in some staff. The players have already been offered to transfer if they wanted to.
Yeah, they had the NCAA gave him a 30-day window, which... I don't believe is up yet, but it doesn't really look like too many people are transferring out. No, they lost Trey Mitchell.
Yeah, it looked like Trey Mitchell left, and it also looked like one guy also went in and then came back, I believe.
Yeah, Kirk Risa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Test the waters, saw the waters, wasn't that great?
Yeah. But, I mean, they have...
Are they supposed to be a good team?
They had a very good transfer class.
They're supposed to be pretty good.
They had a very good incoming transfer class.
Interesting.
So... That's why I think Bob Huggins wasn't fired after the radio show. Is because they just wanted to try and keep the class intact. Yeah. Right. But
wow, that's crazy.
I mean, he went from being a villain of college basketball to everyone's kind of like, I like this guy. He says what's on his mind, to now he's a villain again.
Yeah.
It just ruined his legacy. Final thing on the docket?
Yeah, no Big 12 action.
Yeah, there's expansion news.
Well, it could be. Reports from an anonymous UConn donor says it's a matter of time before UConn joins the Big 12. I wanted to get your thoughts, and do you think with UConn going to the Big 12, or potentially going to the Big 12, that it could be cause for we see 1 or 2 or 3 major powerhouse conferences, like the Pac-12 being gone, the ACC being gone, and the Big East and American ceasing to exist?
I think the Pac-12 is going to die.
Yeah.
Unless, they absorb, like, the Mountain West and some other schools, and then, like, the Mountain West dies off. Pac-12 is dead. I don't think the ACC is going to go away as quickly as people think, because the grant of rights it seems very solid so far. Like the schools have to pay, if they leave, $100 million to the conference, and then also they'll probably have to pay legal fees on top of that. So it's going to be well over $100 million for a school to leave, and that is in place until 2036. So I think the ACC is probably going to remain intact until at least 2034. Just because I don't no school has gotten out. The whole like Magnificent Seven thing, Secret Seven, whatever you want to call them. They were trying to explore a loophole in the contract of the grant of rights that was, if it was kind of like if the conference like folds, then no one has to pay the grant rights, and so they were trying to get half the teams in the conference to leave all at once, so that it could be seen as folding, but they've disbanded. They quit having meetings, so it seems like that's not really a viable option.
But it's definitely in the back of people's minds that, as far as it goes,
absolutely.
As far as it goes right now, it's definitely the SEC and Big Ten show. That is, without a shadow of a doubt, what it is right now.
Yeah.
Big 12 is losing their 2 biggest markets, or at least their biggest market in Texas, and then their second biggest football market in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the Big 12, their goal is just expansion for expansion's sake. Mm-hmm. Like, they're rumored to get UConn, Gonzaga is going to move to the Big 12 for basketball.
It's going to be a great basketball program.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It was the best one last year.
Last year, but
And they're about to get
yeah.
Gonzaga, maybe UConn. There's rumors that they're going to add, if the Pac-12 media rights deal was bad, there's rumors that the four corner schools, that being Utah, Arizona State, Arizona, and Colorado, are all going to leave and go to the Big 12. And Colorado, according to Heather Dinich for ESPN at Big 12 Media Day, Colorado's apparently getting pretty antsy. Like, they want to leave pretty quickly because I think no one is expecting the Pac-12 to get a good deal. But I just
TV rights deals we're talking about here, right?
Yes, and I think I don't know. I think the Big 12 is expanding just to do it, just to be like, look, we've got a ton of teams, we're going to stay alive. But I think as far as the Big 10 and the SEC goes, the expansion is going to be much slower than anyone thinks.
Right. Yeah.
I think expansion is like an exciting thing for people to talk about, but I think it happens more glacially than people realize.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything else?
Not really, no. I'm just interested to see how all this unfolds. Shout out to Dick Vitale. Hopefully he gets better.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got vocal cord cancer.
He does.
So
he's had it for quite some time.
I personally want to see that man get better.
Oh yeah, I love Dick. I hate it when people hate Dick Vitale.
Well, I used to not like Dick Vitale because I thought he was like a Duke crazy and loved Duke. And then once I got to know him and understand him, he was just a guy who.
He's just basketball. A crazy, yeah.
Crazy who loves basketball, and hope he does well. If he's able to call games, I would love to hear him to call games just for nostalgia's sake. But at the same time, I also think that at some point you just gotta hang it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Everyone has their time. Rooting for him. He seems like a great guy.
He's a good guy. Yeah.
Well, I think with that, we're done.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for watching this episode of the College Town Podcast. See you guys again, hopefully this time next week.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.